Good morning, and welcome to this live broadcast of Three Country Ride to Cure Breast Cancer, presented by SpotLink and benefiting the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Today, as part of our daily morning Mingle series, we have the pleasure of speaking with Seth Spillman, Chief Marketing Officer at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. Thank you, Seth, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through.
So can you tell us a little bit about Oklahoma City?
Yeah, well, you're in the capital of Oklahoma. Kind of an interesting story as far as our founding is concerned, a little bit different than the average city. Founded April 22nd, 1889 at the sound of a gunshot during the land run. So one of the things that Oklahoma is known for is our land runs. And this part of the state was called the unassigned lands here in the middle of the state. And it was the first that was open to outside settlements. So April 22nd, 1889, there was a land run, and the population of Oklahoma City went from 0 to 10,000 in a single day. So we've grown, obviously, since then. Oil and gas has played a major part in that. And then we had a bit of a downturn in that economy in the 80s, and we decided to invest in ourselves. And so one of the important things to know about recent history with Oklahoma City would be Metropolitan Area Projects, or MAPs. So it was a 1-cent sales tax that was passed in 1993 that led to investment in quality of life things here around town that would then hopefully bring investment from the outside, which it definitely has. And so a lot of the things that you see now that you know Oklahoma City for best, like the Bricktown Entertainment District, where there's the Bricktown Ballpark, what was originally the Ford Center, now Chesapeake Energy Arena, where the Thunder played last night and unfortunately lost, but are in the playoffs, and a number of other major projects, all that you see development along the river. That all came from the original MAPs, and so it was something that was so good we decided to do it 2 more times. We had MAPs for kids, which either renovated or replaced every major public school in the Oklahoma City public school system.
Great.
And then the latest was MAPs 3. That wrapped up started in 2009, just recently ended collecting on that, but that's funded a number of projects around town. You'll see a modern streetcar running downtown that just started here recently, back in December. That was a MAPS 3 project. There's cranes everywhere downtown right now. So you've got the convention center under construction and a 70-acre downtown park as well.
Wow, that's pretty
impressive. A lot going on.
Yeah, you're doing a lot. So this is a question we asked just by the way. So how did the city get its name? It's kind of self-evident.
Yeah, it is a little self-evident. I had to do a little research on this one, but it actually came out of Oklahoma Station. So we were a stop originally on the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe rail line back in the 1887, I believe, is when it first started. And then with the land run in 1889, it went from Oklahoma Station to Oklahoma City. Okay. And we became the capital of the state. We were not the territorial capital. That was Guthrie, Oklahoma. Okay. And if you ask Guthrie, they'll say that we stole it from them. But here it is today. Okay. So we became the capital of the state in 1910.
Well, great. That's interesting info. Can you tell us a little bit about the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum? I still want to call it Cowboy Hall of Fame.
So anybody with any sort of knowledge or remembrance of our history always wants to call it Cowboy Hall of Fame. I say you can call it whatever you want to as long as you come.
Okay. Well, tell us about it and some of its notable exhibits.
Yeah, you bet. So that's where we are right now. We're in the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. Founded in 1955 by a gentleman named Chester Reynolds. He was not from Oklahoma. He was from Kansas City. And he had this idea that we needed to remember the cowboy here in America and remember the American West. And so it was a conglomeration of 17 Western states that came together and raised funds for this museum. And there were a number of cities, I believe 22, that vied for the location. And it came down to 3 finalists. It was us, Dodge City, and Colorado Springs. And Oklahoma City was awarded it because we gifted the land, and that land was right on Route 66. Oh. So we're on top of Persimmon Hill, which is historic as far as the American West is concerned. It's named Persimmon Hill because there were persimmon trees here, and it was known by those who were on the Chisholm Trail, which is not too far from here, driving cattle up from Texas, as a spot where they could stop and get persimmons. So anyways, the history, the museum itself opened in 1965, so it took a little while to raise the funds and construct the museum. It opened without a permanent collection, so all the things that you see around here now have all come in since, but we've had some pretty important people that have been behind this museum from the very beginning, people like the likes of John Wayne and others who came together and saw what we were doing here and wanted to contribute. So we're surrounded by Remingtons and Russells and beautiful paintings and sculptures in here. We have, I like to say that we tell the story of the West in all the ways that it's been told since its beginning. So we're in the fine art portion of our museum here. You're going to see fine art here that will rival any museum in the country. Right next door here is our Native American gallery that's going to have Native American art, but also material cultural artifacts. We have a Western performers gallery down the way here, so that's going to be the way that the story of the West has been told through film. And then we have the Cowboy gallery, which would be artifacts, hats, boots, chaps. It's going to tell the story of those cattle trails as they came up from Texas and kind of the more recent history of the American West. Wow. We have a full recreation of a frontier town right next door at night. It's all uncovered.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, it's 220,000 square feet under roof here. It's a pretty big museum, and I like to tell people and remind them that we're in Oklahoma, but this is a national museum, and it tells the whole story of the West.
Yeah, I know. In walking down here in the sky, it's just a beautiful building and exhibit.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your daily job as a chief marketing officer for a museum?
Well, the easy answer is I try to get people to come here. So we try to tell the story of all this, telling of the story of the American West. So we have a great staff here that we're responsible for. There's a curatorial staff that makes sure all of these things are arranged as they should be, and that helps get these things in. That handle our traveling exhibits that we have, and what we do as a marketing staff is make sure that we get the word out. So it's our website, it's our emails, it's press releases, it's any number of ways that we try to get the word out and try to encourage people that we've got a museum worth visiting here.
And you definitely do.
Well, thank you.
If you're out there, you should come see it. It's great.
Thank you.
Of course, the main reason we're doing this ride is to cure breast cancer and benefiting the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Is there anything about our cause that is personal to you?
You bet. Well, unfortunately, as so many of us do, I have a personal tie to breast cancer. My mother was diagnosed in 1998, and I remember the day very well. And she actually beat breast cancer and was cancer-free for a number of years, and then unfortunately it came back it came back elsewhere, and aggressively so. And so unfortunately she lost her battle. That was 11 years ago now. So
sorry to hear that.
well, thank you. So yes, it's definitely something that's near and dear, and my family, we've done our part to try to raise awareness, and all too familiar, unfortunately, with the battle of breast cancer.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for
you.
sharing that. So we're going to head out to Stillwater today. Is there anything that you can advise us for our journey today?
Yeah, so Stillwater is home of Oklahoma State University, which is my alma mater. So
okay.
I'm very familiar with Stillwater, one of my favorite towns. You're going to pass Guthrie on the way up there, which would be the territorial capital.
All right.
If you have some time, stop in there.
Okay.
It's a very neat downtown, lots of antique shopping, good times. And then Stillwater, I'd just say make sure that you save some time for some cheese fries at Eskimo Joe's.
Okay.
That's definitely a good stop.
I usually build up an appetite by that time.
Yeah, I think you'd earn it by then, yeah.
Okay, so a final question. Is there a weird fact you know and want to share?
A weird fact I know and want to share. I think I've probably shared a lot of them here. So we have a number of, here at the museum, one of the, I don't know if it's a weird fact, but it's an interesting fact. We have, I mentioned John Wayne. He was involved in the founding of this museum from the very beginning. We have footage of him riding his horse from downtown Oklahoma City up to the museum on the day that it opened back in 1965. And we have a number of his belongings here in the museum, not just things that were from his movies, which we have a lot of them on display right now, but just his personal items too. So one of the fun things that you'll see if you come here to the museum.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, we're going to be heading out now. Catch us for our Live from the Road noon update and our 8 p.m. recap. Talk to you then.